After traveling for nearly 2 days, Pete and I had finally arrived in Bangkok, and trust me when I say we were stoked. Our 26-day adventure in Southeast Asia had seemingly just begun. We just went to 7-Eleven and got a bunch of random ass snacks. I got some water, I got some dumplings that the man wanted to cook for me, so he opened them, being very kind. I then proceeded to tell him not to cook my dumplings.
Why? Your microwave salmon isn't good?
What?
Tomorrow, I'll eat adventurously tonight. I've been through enough today.
Okay, so we're in Bangkok. It's been a long day. Probably been in some kind of temporary moving state for the last 48 hours or so, just between the actual flights, a long layover in Seoul and going into the city and everything. So we're both super beat. We ran to 7-Eleven real quick to get some snacks and some water, and it's about all we have left in us. So we're gonna get some sleep, rest up, and tomorrow the adventures begin.
Our first day in Bangkok was nothing short of spectacular. After flossing our way through the inner workings of the city's subway, we had arrived on the Blue Line to Wat Mekong. Truthfully, the rail lines really aren't too difficult to navigate, but some assistance is nice. Pete and I had a little help from Google Maps and Via Bus. Our luck continued after having a fantastic conversation with a recent grad student from the University of Bangkok. He hailed us a taxi and translated the best possible route for two tourists to explore the concrete jungle we know as Bangkok. The hospitality from locals was truly heartwarming, to say the least, and our tuk-tuk driver left everything on the table, ensuring we had the best possible experience. Our morning was jam-packed as we climbed Wat Saket, paid our dues to Buddha, and a local fish market to wrap up our day.
Ceremony.
Yeah?
Ceremony of the Thai people.
Okay. And what is
flower?
it for? Yeah.
Yeah. Today Buddha Day. Yeah.
After what seemed like a morning that just couldn't get better, Tenneco took us down to the docks, and we were ready to set sail on Bangkok's iconic long-tail boats. Sorry, what time is it?
It's bucket hat time.
Bucket hat time.
Yeah, we're on this, they're called long-tail boats. I think we paid around maybe $35, $40 to get on here. We're cruising down the river, gonna make a couple stops, see some floating markets, things like that. So this will be fun.
We've got about another day here because tomorrow we leave around 2:30. We got a flight to Cambodia, Siem Reap, to visit Angkor Wat. But for today, we're gonna just keep enjoying this.
There he is. There he is, the creature in his natural habitat, talking to the camera like a Gen Z. There he is, the wild Gen Z in his natural habitat.
Well, we've also made it now to Chinatown, so we're running around and trying to figure out what's going to be for dinner right now. And there's a lot of options. Alright, we got some noodles and eggs, we got some beer. Unfortunately, as we wrapped up dinner, our luck took a turn for the worst. Now, let's get into it. It is time for a story.
Story time.
Yeah.
Story.
We filmed all the way last night until, I want to say, pretty much through dinner. We kind of like allowed ourselves some time at dinner to like have a break. That was our mental, like grab our first beer, hang out, like enjoy it. Pete looks at me and he goes, all right, like you want to split it? I think it was like 30 USD, I forget what, 975. And I'm like, yeah, completely fine. Look into my like money pouch or envelope and clearly do not have a 500. And then trying to find any Western Union and or bank or ATM that would accept our cards, because the problem that we were running into with the ATMs is that we both have credit cards and we neglected to bring a debit card, which for those who don't know, debit cards have pins, credit cards do not. So, or unless you sell them.
Yeah.
From there, we pretty much went into hustle mode or tried to like figure out any way. I spoke with a couple different convenience store owners and nothing either way. Luckily, someone was kind enough to kind of get us out of the situation, but then the rest of the night became very real very quick. This morning woke up, hit Western Union, and then took out enough to get us through until the next leg.
You go traveling, bring multiple ways to get money,
Yeah.
or you will end up like us being poor on the streets of Bangkok with no way to do anything,
Yeah.
and being very concerned about getting to the next country. So that's resolved.
Yeah.
We did a little money dance, bought some coffee, and the vibes have done a complete 180 this
For
morning
sure,
as
180.
opposed to last night. So
I'll be honest, I don't think every trip is supposed to go as planned. The more and more I find myself in new countries, or even unfamiliar settings, I understand that's really the beauty of it anyways, right? What you're currently watching is Pete and I running to make our Cambodia flight, sweating our asses off, because we were caught up in the moment celebrating our Western Union win, maybe a little bit too long. These first couple days, we had some rough patches, I'll be truthful in that. And I know it's cliche, but you really do find out a lot about someone's true character in the heat of a moment, especially when things don't look so up. And I genuinely want to share all of our triumphs, but I think there's something to be said about the hiccups along the way too. You grow, you learn, and in a way, traveling's always felt like a microcosm of what's going on back home. The two of us never once pointed fingers, and we're already looking back on it like it's the good old days, laughing about our first couple nights. All you need is a good friend, an airport beer, and a flight to Cambodia.